I've made this mistake as well. It's like, I was so clear with what I wanted, but I'm like, okay, so that's only half of the communication.
Yeah.
I was clear with what I wanted, but did I clearly listen to what the other person said in response to what I wanted? So I think that that's, for me, my advice of like going forward in relationships is like, you need to be clear on what you want, but then also listen to what the person's response is in regards to what you want. Because if it's not in alignment with what you want, then you know that you need to keep it moving, and you won't ever have to worry about wasting your time. If you're actually listening and communicating, you'll never have to worry about wasting your time.
And that's the thing that I think a lot of girls run into. I don't know how it is for men. I don't know if Jordan wants to chime in on the
Do you waste girls' time, Jordan?
No. Why would
We're not assuming that you do.
No, definitely asking. Not. I mean, but the way that I date is completely different, so I'm probably like an exception to the rule.
But how do you date then?
Oh, God, you're going to put me on the spot now?
I'll tell you a little bit about how, because me and Jordan have talked about this. He has a principal partner, right?
Primary, yeah.
Primary partner. And then he's allowed to be open to getting to know other people, not necessarily on a sexual level, but more so just getting to know them and seeing what the connection is.
It's like getting to know their mind.
Yeah, well, it's called
stages of dating. Like, hello, dating in the 90s. Let's just call it that, because clearly I was watching the Chris Rock comedy special on Netflix last night, and he was saying, like, he's like, as a grown 40-year-old man, what these girls want to do to me, I feel like is inappropriate. It's like, he's like, they just want to have sex, and he's like, then they go home. And so it's like, dating now, I guess, is apparently so different of like, oh, let's go on 2 dates and then we're having sex. And if you're not having sex, it's like, what are you, 12? Like, no. Maybe I'm not 12, but maybe I'm from the 90s. Like, the values of, like, we're actually going to get to know each other and decide if I want you in my body.
But Jordan's style of dating sounds kind of a little bit like The Bachelor, but it's more serious.
Right, because, yes, it's so true.
But there's nothing wrong with The Bachelor if they just kept it real. And that's the thing, is that on The Bachelor,
it's
like,
over-dramatized, real.
It's dramatized. A lot of the connection is not real. It's fabricated.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own agenda. If that whole thing was legitly like genuine, I would be all for it. But it's not real.
So, quick question: since being with your primary partner, have you like dated anybody else?
Yeah, I dated one other female.
Oh, okay. And how was that?
It was great. It was a learning experience. So the thing is that when someone says you can have your cake and eat it too, an interesting thing happens. You're like, oh my God, your brain flushes with all these ideas and concepts of like, what can I do? Who am I going to be with now? And for me, it was like, okay, like I got over it really quick. So I went with this one girl and she was cool. She's still a friend till today. But then I realized that's not really what I want. Most guys don't want multiple women. Most guys can't handle multiple women.
I agree. I think that like they think that they want it, but like you barely can handle the girlfriend that you have now, like much less having like 3.
There's a lot of emotions there. I don't know how you
emotions, time. Like at the end of the day, like you do want to spend time with your significant other, but then you don't also want to have time alone. Yeah. So if you have 3 girlfriends and 3 girlfriends want to spend significant time with you, when do you have to do your alone time?
No, but this is very true.
Or your bro time.
This is very true. I've had this conversation with a friend of mine because we're both in relationships, and I'm like, don't you just not want to see him some days? Like, isn't there just days where you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna do me today. Like, I'll see you like next week.
Not even see you, but not even, like, I don't even want to communicate with you. Like, I don't want, not in a bad way, like I'm mad at you, but like I just don't really have anything to say of meaning right now. Like, I just want to kind of do I'm in my own thoughts.
Exactly.
Like, having your own break. Yeah, I think that a lot of
people don't. And you
don't
have to feel bad about that. Like, that's what we were talking about. I was like, I don't think we should feel bad about not wanting to talk to you. I'm like, and it's not like in like a mean way. It's not like, no, don't talk to me anymore. It's like, I mean, if we have something to discuss, let's talk about it. But other than that, I'm like, I think, like you said earlier, we don't really like people.
I know.
So having to manage a relationship and then also manage friends and then manage other people in our lives, it's just like, I need to like retreat into myself for a little bit now.
Yeah, and also because I'm such an analytical person, is that if I don't feel like I get the reflection time to like think about, because I like thinking about what I said, what other people said, and
me too.
You know, so if I don't even get that like that introspective reflection time, I may even start believing that like you're like influencing me and I'm not thinking for myself. So it's better to like give me that alone time to like let me just kind of like, you know, okay, yeah, that is what I wanted to do, because I feel like we're so subconsciously influenced all the time that sometimes we don't even realize that, like, are we making the decision because this is what I actually want to do, or this is what society says I should do, or this will make other people happy and everyone else was excited, so maybe I should feel like I'm excited.
Yeah.
So I feel like having that introspective time is needed, and I think it's really hard when you're dating, like, multiple people, because even I was in a group chat at one point. And
chats are like dating multiple
yes,
people.
it was like so intense. Like sometimes you would just want to have like, okay, you know what? I'm not going in the group chat today. And then you look at your phone and you see like 1,000 messages. Yeah, like 600, 700, 1,000 messages. And you're like, whoa, you can't even keep up and read back and imagine, it's like dating all those people because it's just constant contact. So I definitely had to like leave that group chat because I'm like, I cannot, this is too overstimulating for me. And I think that, being in a relationship with so many people can be overstimulating. Like, I totally understand for open commuting, like what Jordan talks about, that you can have, I'm not looking for my partner to be my end all be all. Like, there's not going to be anybody that's going to meet like everything on my list.
Of course.
So that's where, it's great to have a community, and it's not necessarily like I'm being in a romantic relationship with other men that are in my community, but like I lean on them for something different that I would lean on my romantic partner for, but there's no romantic feeling. So I think that that's something that people need to be open to as well, as like people will say like, men and women can't be friends. Like, yes, they can. Like, I love having guy friends. I love like taking my relationship perspectives and be like, tell me from a guy's perspective. And I love hearing things from my girlfriends, and my girlfriends are the closest friends to me, but like having that balance is definitely needed. And I think that people will be in such healthier relationships if they had like healthy men and women friendships.
That's really true. I've never really even thought of that, because I don't have that many guy friends myself, and the guys that I do come into contact with, when I talk to them, I try to hear their perspective. I try tell me what's on your mind.
But you have brothers, so I think
I have
that
brothers,
fills
and I
your
think that
void, because I have no brothers. So like I think that's why like my guy friends are like my brothers. Like, so having that, like, you need that male female balance perspective in your life, or I just feel like you're not even you're not even viewing life, and you're not going to be able to have like a happy, healthy relationship, because a guy can be able to tell me like, honestly, Kezia, I can see it from this guy's perspective. Like, I can see, as your friend, I can understand why you would do this, but from a guy's perspective, I can understand why. And just seeing it different from when your partner tells you, then you could go back with the fresh I can't speak English, fresh sense of perspective to go in and be like, you know what, I talked to someone else about it, and now I can kind of see things differently, and like you can address the situation differently. But I think that we rely so heavily on our partners that we don't rely enough on our community to like balance that out.
Well, that's the thing. You can't expect your partner to take on everything as well. Remember, they're also dealing with their own feelings.
And I don't want anyone to rely so heavily on me.
Me
so
neither.
I think that's probably why I don't rely heavily on other people, because I'm like, I do not want this back in return.
I think it's very important that people are able to kind of go into themselves and deal with their own emotions, and again, then discuss after. Like, after you kind of know where you're at, go and discuss with other people so that you can get a clearer picture. Be like, you know what, I need some clarity on what's happening here and how I feel about this, and I actually sorted through these things, and this is what my stance is on something like this. It's just like sitting down having a discussion on like, or a debate.
And coming to an understanding, because I think that's the main thing that people look for in relationships, is like someone that understands you, someone that understands you don't have to explain yourself, and you don't have to be on defense. Like, you can just be vulnerable and they'll understand you, you understand them, and you have that mutual understanding. So,
and it's a supportive relationship, right? It's something that's going to help you in the long run instead of hindering you. Right? So I don't know if we can take a quick break. Can we take a quick break? Yeah, so we can take a quick break now. I think we've been talking for a little while, so when we come back, we'll continue wrapping up this conversation. Right?
Yes.
So
see you guys soon.
Doing this event for the community. But what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity? This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself. Like, you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Welcome back, and you're watching Real Talk. Today we're talking about love and relationships and, single life. Because I think that's where a lot of people feel that they don't know where to move forward from.
Yeah.
Again, I have a lot of single friends, and it's kind of the same thing that I hear a lot of the time, is that they'll meet a great guy, they'll have a conversation, he'll drop off the face of the earth, he'll come back, they'll go out, completely hate the experience, and then that's another one for the books.
Oh, wow. And I think that what I've been getting is a lot of readers have been writing in and just saying, like, how do I meet somebody?
Mm-hmm.
And especially, like, a lot of these women are single moms, or, like, they're just not even just their moms, and, they're not in a relationship anymore, and now they're single. So I think that they're just looking at how to meet people. And Shayna from Black Singles United, she's saying, like, a lot of the dating world is moving to online. And for me, I personally just feel like online dating is a little bit weird and creepy, but it's been so successful for a lot of people. Like, I will not knock it at all.
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
So many people have gotten married, and, Tinder, Tinder has over 50 million users. So 50 million people are using Tinder. So clearly, app dating and online dating is the way to go for the future of dating, if you really are looking for someone. But if you're kind of like me and you don't really like that, like, we do have to kind of be different in the way that we're looking to find love. And I mean, the main thing to do is, like, you need to get yourself out there. And, like, this is advice for other people and myself, but, like, getting just yourself, not necessarily getting yourself out there to, like, singles events, but just, like, going out where you're open to, like, meeting someone that you're, like,
an environment that you'd be okay with meeting someone in, right? Because I think meeting someone in a bar and meeting someone, for example, in, like, a bookstore, are completely two different people that you're probably going to meet, right? Like, he's not going to be the same way that he is in the club.
But then the thing is, it's so weird, is that, like, how often do you get picked up in a bookstore? Because no one's going to be, like, going there. Yeah, it's like, it's so, like, TV romanticized, because it's like, when you're at a bookstore, you're there for a purpose of looking for a book.
Yeah.
And you don't even know if the people there are single or not. So,
you're not really even trying to talk to anybody in a bookstore, because you're, like,
yes, you could be, but then, you don't know, like, the status of the person. So,
what
like,
do you want from me?
Yeah, definitely try to put yourself in environments where single people are going to be, and go with your single friends. So it could be, like, a bar, it could be a club, it could be, like, even, like, a speed dating event, or, a singles yoga, like, just, like, looking for things, like, online. They have so many singles events, so just looking for things online, and just getting yourself out there, and just even, like, when you go to events, let's say if you were to, like, go to, in the summer, like, Taste of the Danforth, being open, like, just having that in your mind, like, I'm gonna be open to someone talking to me, like, smiling at people, making eye contact. I feel like all those things can make a difference in how, if you don't want to do, like,
approachable or not, right?
Yeah, and I think if you don't want to do, like, the online dating, but you still want to be able to be open to, like, meeting someone, just, like, physically and mentally being present and putting yourself out there can be, like, a way to, like, meet great people.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Again, like, I don't know, even making friends is something that I've struggled with. So going up to like a group of people, or like even just like talking to one person and continuing that conversation is very similar to dating.
It's true.
Right? So like, yeah, but we're doing it for different purposes. We're just trying to be friends. And I think like that's something that I struggle with. So I know that when I started like getting into like dating, I was like, am I going to be able to even do this? Like, I don't know how to talk to people. You know what I mean? Like, and specifically, I didn't know how to talk to men. That was the other thing. So I couldn't, like, I had classmates and stuff that were boys, and so, like, the conversations were usually, like, awkward and, like, shy, and, like, I don't want him to, like, judge me.
Yeah.
Right? But then it was, like, I think it came to a point where it was, like, you either do this or you don't.
You know what's so funny? Is that, like, almost, like, I feel like the way that I got comfortable with, like, talking to men was, like, I just, like, started picturing, like, every guy that I ever spoke to as, like, someone that I could potentially date. Not that I wanted, like, even if they were married or a teacher or whatever, but, like, just so I could get comfortable with, like, how I would, like, interact with them, so that when I would actually, like, be, like, on a date, like, I would just kind of, like, put it back
what would
to
I
that
do if I liked
perspective.
him, or if I wanted him to, you know, be more interested?
Like, for me, I just developed having genuine connections with someone, so that when they were single, that would already display itself. So so as I said, like with like professors, or like with other students, or just with people at the grocery store, like I just wanted to be personable and like learn how to like connect with people, so that when it did come time for like a romantic relationship, like I was able to do that on that level as well. But like I think that we just don't even know, we're so disconnected, like we don't have a sense of community, that we don't even know how to like have conversations with like people anymore.
Yeah. Well, even like when you come, Jordan has something to say. Jordan, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I actually just wanted to ask Kezia if she could just go into detail about what her friendships look like with men, just so that your viewers can understand.
What do my friendships look like with men?
No, that's a really interesting question.
I know.
I like the guy friends that I have are usually just like guys that I knew in like a group setting.
Yeah.
So it's like just by chance we're kind of like acquaintances, and we don't really sit down and talk, like we have deep conversations. I think I knew like maybe like 2 guys like that, really. And like, let me tell you what those relationships look like to me. Like those relationships were kind of like, I used to treat them like girlfriends. Which is really sad, but that's what I used to do. I used to treat them like girlfriends because I didn't want any type of romantic feelings to like get involved there. And I can see how that would be bad now, but I thought like it was basically like putting up a wall for myself.
Decide to be in this relationship. So I feel like they're the ones that are, and I feel like also like, do you know if like a girl likes you, or if she's like flirting with you, or are you just like, oh no, she's just friendly?
This is an area in my life that I struggle with, because I'm like you. I'm very, very, very positive. I'm very vibrant. And so when I communicate with women, it comes off a lot of times as
like,
flirting.
Oh, he's a really nice guy.
But a lot of times it is flirting. So
I know, I was gonna say, like, that happens to me a lot too. So I'm like, maybe it is flirting because I'm having the option, like I'm open, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna go to the next level. And I think that that's another difference too. It's like, just because I'm like open to possibly liking you, it doesn't mean that I like you. It just means I'm open to it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
yeah, it makes perfect sense.
That's interesting. But you know what? That actually happened last night in an episode of The Bachelor. The new one, like the Winter Games. But let me tell you, like the issue that I had was, there was a girl and a guy, and there was 2 guys. So she ended up like going to like talk to one of the guys because he was interested in her. But I think he kind of got the wrong idea, and he was like, oh no, this girl is really interested in me, right? So like I think they kissed or something like that. There was a connection made there. And then the other guy who had said that he kind of liked her or had feelings for her, he saw, and he was like, okay, well, if she's with him, I'm gonna back off.
Hold on, there's more than one guy on The Bachelor?
No, this is the other one. This
is
the one. It's honestly, it looks like the Hunger Games to me, because it's just,
I'm like, there's
men and women involved, and
Okay.
like basically the concept of it is that one week the girls give out the rose, and the next week the guys give out the rose, and you're basically supposed to make connections in the house. So if there are couples start to pair off.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen these kind of shows, like Paradise kind of love shows. And
Exactly,
things like that
it's
before.
very much like that. So. And what ended up happening is, well, if you made a connection with him, he's gonna give you a rose, so I don't need to worry. I don't need to pursue this any further, because I'm not gonna pursue another man's girl.
Yeah.
Right? And then she was like, no, that's not what's happening here. She's like, yeah, but whether or not I kissed him is not your business. my business is the fact that I'm here and I'm looking to explore. Like, I don't really like him. Kind of thing. And I was like, that seems a little bit shady.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I would never make out with someone and then be like, but I don't like you. Like,
I'm open to exploring more options.
Yeah, so I think that that's, you know, a little bit different, but everyone operates differently. Like, how everyone gets to know if they like someone, maybe it has to be physical before they decide, you know? So everyone operates differently, so you can't judge. But yeah, just because I'm getting to open to liking you doesn't mean that I like you. And I think that both parties need to understand that, like men and women, so that there can be less disappointment and feelings hurt.
I agree. Definitely agree. So we're gonna have to, you know, we're gonna go to another commercial, are we? Yeah, we're going to another commercial, I guess.
And we'll be back.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
We are doing this event for the community. Well, what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity? This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself, like you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Welcome back. You're watching Real Talk. I'm your host, Alyssa Mahadeo, and today on the show we have Kezia.
Hey.
Kezia is one of our columnists. She writes our love and relationships column.
Yeah, called Love, Likes, and Shares in the Six.
So
and
make sure you pick up a copy of the newspaper.
Yeah, you guys, and please email me more. Like, I love the emails I've gotten thus far, but I've mainly gotten emails from women. I would love to hear the males' perspectives on what you guys are doing out there for dating. Like, you know, my dad doesn't really want me to share this live, but he won't watch this. But he's told me, because he's single and he's about to turn 60, and he's like on the dating game, and he was saying that women are not open to meeting someone that they don't know. Like, he's like said that the woman that he's been able to date is like a mutual friend of someone else. So is, you know, men, is this something that you guys are dealing with, that women are not even open to dating a brand new guy? They want to kind of have that like certified of like, okay, well, this person knows him, so there's a little bit of accountability. Yeah, that they can vouch for him. How do you know Richard? You know, it's like, okay, I know him through here. Okay, then he must be a good guy, so I'll date him. So he was saying that he was finding that women are not even open to like meeting someone new, because he said he went to a party for New Year's Eve, and like he approached a woman, and he was like, you know, do you want to dance or do you want to have a drink? And she was like, I don't know you. And he was like, well, how do you get to know people? And I mean, yeah, if you're single, a woman, and you're in your 50s and 60s, like, come on, you got to do something different. Like, I'm in my 30s, and I even know, you know, I'm open. You know, they say, I've been reading this online a lot, and they say like Toronto women are like the rudest, that we have the stank face, and that we're not open. And it's like, yeah, you just need to be open to conversation. If someone says hi to you, even if I'm interested in that guy or not, which, I mean, people have said this is misleading, but even if I'm interested in you or not, I have manners. If you say hi to me, I'm saying hi back. I can then decide how far I want it to go and not go, but at least just be open to like, you know what, maybe I'll have a drink and like, let's just talk a little bit. Okay, after 5-10 minutes, you're not really feeling the vibe, you're not interested. You know what, it was great speaking with you. Thank you for the drink. I really appreciate it. Have a good night. Keep it moving. But you'll never get out of the single zone if every single time that you're approached, you're just shutting it down because I don't know you. And get to know someone new. That's the whole point of dating, is getting to know someone new, and someone maybe even from outside of your network.
I think another thing that a lot of women struggle with is they let their own insecurities kind of get the better of them in the moment of that relationship. So like, I might be talking to a guy, like hypothetically speaking, I might be talking to a guy, and then I'm like, we'll have a really great conversation, maybe make a great connection. He might really like me. He might say some things that I'm just like, oh, you know, this guy seems like he's really 100% genuine. But then you get in your own head and you kind of shut it down because you're like, but can he like me because I'm like this, or because I do this? Like, he might not even know these things about you yet, but you've already got those insecurities that are like deep seated within you, and you're just kind of shut down the entire relationship before it even has a chance to flourish, right?
So I think that definitely you need to have like confidence in yourself and know that you have value, so that other people can see that value, the way that you value yourself, that other people can value in a similar way, in a similar manner. Because I feel like if you have a low value and worth on yourself, that how can you expect someone to like, you know, respect you to a higher level if you don't even respect yourself to that higher level? So definitely, you know, I do believe in the law of attraction, even when it comes to relationships. Like, if you're insecure and you have that, like, you're going to attract someone that wants an insecure person. So just knowing the vibes and the energy that you're putting out there, and the mindset, the thoughts, that the stories that you're constantly telling yourself about yourself in your head. Even for me, like, I had clear skin my whole 20s. Then in my 30s, I'm like breaking up with acne. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like, you know, like a teenager thing. I thought it was over this, and that's my own insecurity. But like, just for me to get over my own insecurity, like I just started wearing like no makeup every single day. I'm like, I just need to see my face with like, you know, the flaws and all, and love myself. Because then if I'm like, you know, in a relationship, I'm going to be thinking like, oh my God, does he see like the pimple coming up on my face?
That
like,
was the big
am I going to be
thing
sleeping with makeup on?
Yeah.
And, you know, so just like I had to get comfortable in a new development of myself, because once you think you've conquered your self-confidence, let me tell you, something else is going to come. It's a constant battle. It's not like, oh, I'm self-confident and it's the end-all be-all and then you're just done with that process. Like, you continually have to be working on your self-confidence. So just understanding that if, you know, you're putting out that kind of energy of like, oh my gosh, you know, the acne on my face, or oh, I feel insecure about my stomach, then someone's going to be feeling that energy as well, and you're going to be maybe even attracting a partner that you don't want.
You look uncomfortable yourself too, right? Because you're not being yourself.
Yeah, you may attract a partner that you don't want because of that energy that you put out there. So just put out the confidence. You'll attract, you know, if you want someone successful, be successful, put that energy out there, and then you'll attract it back. So just that law of attraction of like knowing what kind of energy you're putting out there, so that when people are approaching you, you don't even have to worry about if you like them or not. You already know the energy that you're putting out there. So that's the energy that you're going to be receiving back. You'll be even more open to get to know new people that you've never met and outside of your network, because you understand the energy that you're putting out there and that what you want to attract.
Jordan, what about you? What kind of
is that true, Jordan, or no? You're clapping? So you agree?
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I think I was waiting for one of you to stumble onto that, because I think a lot of what happens in dating is we just meet partners with our insecurities that mirror our insecurities, and then we're like, why do I keep attracting the same guy?
Yeah.
All these, like, you know, and it's like, finally you have to realize that you're attracting your insecurity.
Yes.
And then when you're putting out those positive vibes, you're gonna attract those positive people.
Yeah.
So I agree 1,000%.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and I, like, as you said, the same thing. Like, I had those insecurities as well. Like, growing up, I've had, like, the worst kind of skin. Like, my skin isn't bad now, but it used to be when I was, like, still young.
See, and mine's the reverse. In my 20s, I was like, I didn't wear makeup. I had clear skin. I was like, no filter, like, you know, on Instagram.
One
like,
of the main reasons I didn't talk to people was because, like, I wouldn't talk. It didn't matter, girl or boy. I didn't talk to them just because of the way my skin was. I'm like, they're looking at my face, and they're probably like, what is going on there?
Yeah.
You know?
So just, like, even being confident in yourself, like, we all have flaws. Like, no one is perfect. So I think that, like, for me, like, just being confident in myself and, like, constantly working on myself and being self-aware, I think that's another thing for relationships. And I talk about this in my column, if you guys read it. I talk a lot about self-awareness. I think that if you're not even self-aware of what you're feeling about yourself, how can you be aware of someone else's feelings and then be able to respond to them and reciprocate to them and give them what they need, and how can they give you what you want because you don't even know what you want.
Even, like, talking about it. I actually learned this in my group of friends recently, that a lot of us are kind of going through very similar things, but we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And we didn't really think anybody could relate to those issues that we had because we're so absorbed in them and ourselves and our own lives that we can't kind of address them with anybody else. We're just like, no, they're probably going to judge me. This is too much.
Yeah.
It feels like you're burdening someone else with all of the issues that you're kind of dealing with personally. And it was really funny because I think one of my friends had to get stuff off her chest, and she just started talking, and just like everything that kind of came up, we're like, all of us are kind of dealing with similar things. And it was like, really? And it was kind of like a realization that
I've actually had like a similar experience. I was part of this like pairing mental health with yoga program. It was a pilot program for this lady that I know. She's doing her master's, so she was doing like a pilot program, so we're all participants in it. And then like, so we would do yoga, and then we would sit down and talk about like different like topics. And like, these women are of different nationalities, different, economic standing, but we all related to like the same things. Like, we're all so tired of our boys, like, peeing crazy in the bathroom, or we're so tired of our partners, not helping us out, or whatever it may be. Like, we were all from different backgrounds and lifestyles, and we had a lot of like the same issues and problems. So I think that, as I said, like, going back to relationships, romantic relationships, we're looking for that understanding, but you'll never have that true understanding if you're not open and honest. So having those open and honest discussions really brings about that sense of community and that understanding, so that, let's say, you got this off your chest with your girlfriends now that you're going back with your partner, you have even a different perspective of how you want to like handle life and deal with your relationship, because you're like, now I'm not feeling so isolated with I'm the only one dealing with this issue, because I think that that's a big thing, is like we feel like I'm the only one going through this. I thought this was just
me.
Yeah. And it's where we're not, especially in this like growing global community. We're realizing that there's so many of us that are going through the same thing and having very similar experiences, and we're, dispelling the perceptions and just really showing the truth. That's a great way that we can build that understanding and those connections and longevity in our relationships.
Yeah. So guys, I think on that note, we could talk about this forever. That's
all
the thing.
Day.
Love and relationships is something that, again, I think we're both very interested in. I like to explore the different relationships between people that I meet, boy, girl, her son.
I know. And you know what? And I think that's why this inspired me to do this column. Like, I always loved Sex and the City, and I loved, just talking about dating and the different aspects of dating, because she talks about dating in their 30s, and I'm in my 30s. My son's banging at the door over here. But I think that and Miranda shows a perspective of dating with, a child. So I liked that, and I feel like that's what I want to show as well. Like, this is like my real life. I'm sharing with you guys my real life experiences in dating. Like, the last article, I literally shared a real story about two guys that I was talking to, and the things that happen in those beginning stages of relationships. So read and then share with me, because I love to share you guys stories, and I love to answer your questions.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions or comments, please make sure that you send them to Kezia at carib101.com. Or you can send them to Toronto Caribbean newspaper. So I think it's info@torontocaribbean.com that you can also send it to. And we'll forward them to Kezia, make sure she gets them.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining us on another edition of Real Talk. It's been real.
It's been real.
Make sure that you catch us again next week, all right?
Have a great long weekend. Bye, guys. Be safe.